This episode is brought to you by Best Fiends. As you know, helping victims of crime tell their stories is my passion, but even I need a break from crime sometimes, so when I feel like I need a mental health pause, my go-to is the mobile puzzle game Best Fiends. Best Fiends is a puzzle game that you can play right on your phone, and it's super cool because you can go through all these levels solving challenging puzzles that actually engage your brain. But it's casual, and anyone can play it. It's really fun. So I just made it to level 102, and I've been playing for a couple weeks now. I'm totally hooked. The great thing about this is it doesn't take up too much of your time, but it's awesome in the way that it fills up those moments where you wish you had something to do aside from scrolling through social media over and over again. You also don't need an internet connection to play it, so that makes it fun and easy. The game is visually stimulating with its bright colors and cute little bugs, and Best Fiends updates the game monthly with new levels and events so it never gets old. Engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. Trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must play. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R, Best Fiends.
This is Brew Crime, a craft beer and true crime podcast.
I'm Mike.
I'm Beck.
And I'm Nina.
And we're your hosts.
We pair a true crime story with a craft beer.
That Nina will probably hate.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever. You can find our show on all your favorite podcast apps, and if you can't find it, contact us and we'll try and change that.
We can be found at brewcrime.com or on all social media platforms at brewcrime.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us and try not to giggle.
The Oracle Network. Look deeper.
This is True Consequences, a true crime and mystery podcast with stories based in New Mexico in the American desert Southwest.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Get Vocal live stream of True Consequences. Tonight I am joined by a very special guest, Amanda Shirley, who is fighting for justice for her brother, DJ. And I want to welcome you, Amanda, before we get any further, and thank you for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Amanda, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then maybe talk about DJ and who he was as a person and what he meant to you and your family, if you don't mind.
Well, like you said, I'm DJ's sister. My name's Amanda Shirley. I've been fighting for DJ for 4 years now. Grew up in Georgia my whole life in the county that DJ was killed in. I got married when I was 18, moved as far away from that place as I could and moved to Alabama. So all of our friends and majority of our family were still from that area. Hence why DJ kept going back to that same county. But it's not about me. It's about DJ. So let's move on to DJ.
Okay, sure.
DJ was a 27-year-old father of 3. He had a set of identical twin girls when he was killed that were a year old and a little boy that was 2 years old. He had been married for 2 years. Growing up, he was a typical boy, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Barney, Chucky, the movie, Child's Play. He was weird. He always liked the horror movies, and everything. He was a big prankster. He was always playing jokes on everybody and picking on everybody, aggravating everybody. It was never a dull moment with DJ around. And if you ever met him, you just opened up to him like you knew him your whole life. He could talk to you for hours about anything. And he was just, I know everybody says that when somebody dies, they light up a room. DJ lit up the room because his personality was just so out there that he never met a stranger.
That's amazing. He sounds like a dynamic person.
He was really great to be around. There was, like I said, there was never a dull moment.
So I know you've been very open about DJ's struggles in his life and the issues and challenges that he faced. And I know that that's been kind of a bone of contention with people that have investigated this case and people that have tried to look into this case. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, DJ had a addiction problem. I actually I always say he had a drug problem, but I don't honestly, I mean, he did, but he didn't. You know how people have, they social drink. They only drink when
Yeah.
they're out with friends or they go. DJ was like that with drugs. He was a social drug user. He would only use drugs when he would be around certain people. His wife would be in jail or, split up, and he would come home and stay for months at a time and never use the first drug, never want it, never talk about it. He didn't even have withdrawals from it. So I don't honestly, people would look at him and say he was a drug addict from his life, the issues that was going on at the time, but I don't really think he was a drug addict. But he smoked pot, which I don't think pot's a drug. But that's his dad died when he was 14. DJ was a big church goer. He was in church from the time he was 6, 7 years old up until the time my dad died, which was when DJ was 14. DJ actually got my dad in church. My dad was a Vietnam veteran and struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder and just a lot of number of problems from being in the war. And he was someone that you would never think would go to church. And DJ actually got him in church, got him saved and baptized. And so when my dad died of cancer when DJ was 14, DJ had some anger issues with God. And I get that, I can understand that. And he was at a very critical age, 14. That's a critical age for any boy or kid, at all. His dad wasn't there, and that's when a kid needs their parent the most, And so DJ started hanging out with the wrong people, and he started smoking pot, and he was actually being a typical teenager, but he just didn't have the father figure there to put him on the right path. Of course, we tried. DJ being DJ, he was hard-headed and stubborn. All of this boils down to that because of where DJ's body was found, where he was killed at, the location, the home, was a well-known drug house.
Mm-hmm.
They've all blew it off as, it's just another drug addict that committed suicide. No big deal.
Yeah, I think that's a problem in law enforcement with people who struggle with drugs, with people who maybe in the sex work industry, they get brushed off as unimportant and kind of rejected and forgotten about. And really, I think it leaves out the human part of, DJ was a father, DJ was a brother, DJ was a son, DJ was important to so many people, no matter what struggles. Everybody has struggles in their lives, and they're all different. And no struggle is better than the other, and I really wish that would change because it's wrong. It's completely wrong.
Yes. Everybody matters. I mean, it doesn't matter what your lifestyle is, what your choices are. Yeah, everybody makes bad decisions and bad choices. That doesn't give someone the right to be murdered and not get the justice. Even though that they're not here anymore, loved ones that are suffering unnecessarily because of the grief and everything that law enforcement and detectives and everyone's putting them through.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your family. So
I mean, that's like I said, he had a set of identical twins that were a year old and a little boy that was 2. The 2-year-old remembers DJ. The twins don't remember him. They remember him. Yeah, they remember what we tell them. Memories of, and stories about him. And, we have a couple of videos and we have several pictures. God, we have so many pictures. But we'll show them a picture. If I pull out my photo album and I'll show them a picture and I'll tell them what we were doing this day, because we were a really close family. We always had family get-togethers, Halloween costume parties, big Thanksgiving dinners, Christmas gatherings. Every milestone or holiday, it was a family event. So the twins don't remember him personally, but the little boy, it's heartbreaking because he asked for his daddy. And he's even made a remark that he wished he could go to heaven to see his daddy. And it's just heartbreaking to see that little boy go through that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not fair. It's not fair to any of you. And I'm so sorry that your family has to go through that. I wish there was something I could say to make it better, but there isn't.
No, there's
really
not,
isn't.
but I mean, what could you say? You know, I mean, you know the pain, you know the suffering, you know the torture, and nothing anyone could say or do could make it better.
It's just always going to be there. And my heart goes out to you and your family, honestly.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about Brandy, because I know she's a big part of this. And I know that the whole story kind of revolves around her behavior and the things that were happening in DJ and Brandy's relationship. For those of you that are watching, Brandy was DJ's wife at the time. Can we talk a little bit about that situation and what led up to what happened?
Yeah, I'm gonna start from the beginning.
Okay.
DJ, before DJ met Brandy, DJ and Brandy had went to school together. She was, I think, a year or 2 years, ahead or below DJ in grade level. But they knew of each other. They were acquaintances. They wasn't really friends or anything, but they knew of each other. But this was about, I guess, when DJ, I don't remember the time frame, but before DJ and Brandy got together and everything, DJ had been friends with this man that they called Old Man. And that's the actual home he got shot and killed at. But DJ was friends with this man named Old Man. He was an old man that had a sick wife, and DJ would help the old man with his wife and everything. Well, DJ and Brandy kept running into each other through mutual friends over the years after they got out of school and everything. And eventually they hooked up. They got together. They hooked up. They had, she got pregnant. It was an unexpected pregnancy, but she got pregnant with the little boy. 4 months after they had the baby, they got married. And during this time, they continued to go to Old Man's house. DJ actually introduced her to Old Man. I'm going to say about a year and a half after they got married, we're going to call him Mike, the suspect. We will just call him Mike. This guy, Mike, moves a camper onto this property. And Brandy started having an affair with Mike. And DJ knew about it. He was aware of it. I don't know how many times they actually had an affair, but I do know it did happen at least once. But Mike was keeping her in drugs more than he was anything. That's why I believe wholeheartedly that's why Brandy continued to go back to him. But she would go to him. She would be with him for a couple of days. She would come back to DJ. DJ, they would come back home. A couple of weeks later, she would leave again. DJ would follow right after her. They would end back up at Old Man's. She would end up back with Mike. I mean, it was just it was like a routine. It was so predictable. We knew what was going on, what was going to happen. But DJ and Mike hated each other. Mike was obsessed with Brandy. He did not want DJ and Brandy talking whatsoever. Multiple conflicts, actual physical fights occurred between DJ and this guy the week leading up to his death. Physical altercations. He jumped DJ in the shower and put a knife to his throat. DJ was walking out of the trailer, and Mike was waiting on him to come out of the trailer with a ball bat. And when DJ come out of the trailer, he jumped him with the ball bat. This was just like 2 days before DJ was killed. So, I mean, there was many fights, and physical altercations between them. And DJ hated him. I mean, of course, he's having an affair with your wife. You're not going to really care. And it pisses me off so bad to hear these interviews with Mike talking to law enforcement about how him and DJ were such good friends, that he loved DJ and he was trying to help DJ and Brandy. And it just makes me so mad because I want to go through that screen and just strangle him, because he was supplying them with the drugs. He was the one that broke that family up. He was the cause. I mean, he wasn't, I blame Brandy just as much as him, but he knew she was a married woman. He could have said no and walked away. But it just makes me mad, hearing him say and he put words in DJ's mouth, and it just makes me so mad to hear these and watch those videos of the interviews. Because I know how DJ felt about him.
Yeah. Melissa said it's so infuriating. I agree with you, Melissa. I think it's frustrating. And do you feel like law enforcement believed him?
No. No, they actually, the day of the shooting, it was nothing other than a suicide. I have the paperwork, everything stamped, suicide. Even though they caught him in 3 lies that day while on the scene, it was still a suicide. But 3 weeks into the investigation, it was changed over to a possible homicide, and it was handed over to the DA as a homicide case. So, and my private investigator has talked to the detective that was over the case since, and he agrees it was not a suicide, and that was the whole reason he handed it over to the DA, was because they were ready to take it to court, but the DA refuses to present it to a grand jury.
So we have a situation where Mike is obviously getting very involved in DJ's life and in Brandy's life. He's supplying them with drugs. He's also causing drama and chaos in that relationship and in their lives. You said that DJ didn't really, obviously didn't like him. For him to sit there and say that they were friends is crazy. So he's already held a knife to DJ's throat in the shower. He's already threatened him with a bat. So he's proven that he's violent. He's proven that he's capable of violence. He's proven that he's violent towards DJ. So what led up to the day that DJ was shot? Because it sounds like this is starting to escalate and get more intense.
Well, he didn't just threaten him with the ball bat. Him and DJ actually physically fought out in the yard that day. DJ grabbed up a golf club and actually knocked Mike's tooth out. And Mike went into the trailer all bloodied up from his tooth getting knocked out and made the remark to one of the people that were staying there that I'm going to kill him. And this was, like I said, two days before. The detectives interviewed that person during the investigation, and she told them that happened. And, she said, I know for a fact that when he said that, he was talking about DJ. DJ had a huge bruise on his left shoulder the detective even says it in the investigation report, that would be consistent with a ball bat. It wasn't never documented on the autopsy, but it was there. Go ahead. Do you have a question?
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, I didn't see that on the autopsy at all.
Yeah, it's not documented on the autopsy. And you would think that an injury like that would be something that would be documented in an autopsy. Mm-hmm. That would be a big thing there, There was a lot of things they usually do.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that wasn't documented in the autopsy. A lot of things. But the day DJ got shot, Brandy and DJ woke up. They actually stayed in the camper with Mike that night. Matter of fact, DJ was killed on a Monday. Sunday, Brandy and DJ had got back together. They stayed in the camper with Mike that night. They got up that morning. They went up to the trailer to use the bathroom. So anyways, they got up. They went up to the trailer to get something to drink and to use the bathroom. DJ asked. Mike followed. Later. He didn't go up there with them, but he was about 20, 30 minutes behind them. He comes up there, and DJ didn't have a cell phone. They didn't have a car. No ride, no nothing. DJ asked him if he could use his phone. Now, I don't know for sure what happened beforehand. I couldn't tell you. I wasn't there. I do know that DJ asked Brandy for something to drink, and she fixed him a glass of Kool-Aid, and it was apparently bitter because it was frozen, and it was like half thawed, half frozen, and it was bitter. And they had like this little argument spat about it, and he asked her for some sweet tea instead. And in the crime scene photos, there is a picture of frozen Kool-Aid and a glass of tea sitting next to it. So I assumed that's true.
Right.
You've got a picture that documents it. So anyways, he asked Mike to use his phone. He starts texting my mom, and he tells her, first thing the very first text message is, "You've got to come get me now. I'm going to end up dead here." At the time, my mom was sick. She was, she had a surgery scheduled the following week to have a pacemaker put in. She had a bad heart. They told her to stay away from stressful situations. So she told him, she's like, "DJ, I'm too sick to drive. What is it?" And he said, "My life depends on it." He was pleading for his life. At one point, he even told her, "Mom, please don't make me beg you." And she was telling him, "I can't, DJ. You can't stay here. I can't take the stress. I can't deal with it. I can't do it." She was giving him ideas on places to go, people to stay with. And so, and he was also texting my cousin and several other people on Facebook Messenger. He told my cousin, I have the message I have access to his Facebook page. So, he sends her a message. He says, "I need you to do me a favor. I need you to come get me now." And she said, "I'm sorry, I can't." And he said, "It'll save my life." And she's like, "Well, why? What's going on?" He said, "Me and Mike's trying to kill one another." And so you have all these messages where DJ knew something was fixing to happen.
Yeah.
3 minutes after he sent the last text message, Mike calls 911 saying, "We got a guy here that shot himself."
3 minutes?
3 minutes after DJ sent the last text message.
Oh my God.
He hung up on 911 3 different times. Every time Brandy could be heard getting close to the phone, he would hang up on 911. It was almost like he didn't want somebody hearing her say something. So every time he'd hang up, they'd call back. But throughout all 3 911 calls, he never made the call about DJ. It was always about what he was doing or what he tried to do, or it was all about him. It was like he was planning out his story, trying to make up the story as he went. Never attempted to do any kind of resuscitation on DJ. Just nothing. It was all about him, not the victim, him. And so that was your first red flag right there. But then you have 911 operator in the third 911 call tell him to unload and secure the weapon, which some people, he says on one of the calls that he picked the gun up to see what it was. It was his gun.
So, trying to explain why his fingerprints are on it.
Exactly. That was to cover, why his fingerprints would have been on the gun. But it was his gun. Why? And what difference does it make what kind of gun it is anyway? You've got somebody laying there that's been shot or shot themselves. What difference does it make what they shot themselves with?
Yeah.
They're shot. That's the issue.
That's the priority. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So, But that was just a cover to, cover why his prints would have been on the gun. So after the 911 operator heard that, she was like, well, so you touched the gun, correct? And he's like, yeah. And she said, go ahead and unload and secure that weapon for me. Which people want to say that they told him to do that because of in case it was in case there was a threat there. Law enforcement shows up, the gun could go off, or DJ could still be alive and pull the trigger. I mean, you don't know what you're walking into. Okay, I get that. But at the same time, I think law enforcement, 911 operators should know not to tell somebody to move a weapon and to tamper with a crime scene. Because
Right.
now not only has he touched it once, he's touched it twice. Then when the first responding officer gets on the scene, he touches it and moves it. So it's been moved 3 times.
He touched it barehanded?
I don't know.
Okay.
The way they handled the crime scene, I wouldn't be surprised, but I will give him credit that the first responding officer on the scene was the only one that actually did his job correctly, because he did go in and secure the home. He checked for signs of life, called out to DJ.